Hey everyone, welcome to today's video. My name's Stephanie and today we are going to be looking at the rainbow palette that is Olive Ave's new Kaleidoscope collection. So this is her collection for this fall season, and like I just said, it features a rainbow palette of shades in both a mix of creams and shimmery, sparkly finishes. So as always, I will save more of my thoughts at the end after comparisons. For now, let's get into the swatches. The first color we have is Garnet, and this is a red metallic with a warm golden glow. So I'm not sure if that's supposed to translate to having a gold shimmer, because there definitely is shimmer in this, but I personally just don't see the warm kind of color. Either way, it is still very glowy and really pretty. So I usually really like these metallics since they are very pigmented and normally opaque in one coat, but I did find this one to be a little bit sheer where I can see my nail line in extreme angles. So I did end up doing a second coat for this. I think this is a beautiful red to represent Walker's son's birthstone because he was born in January. Next in the rainbow, we have Ginger, which is a spicy orange with a scattered hollow finish. So these hollow polishes usually have a slight crelly formula, but I found that this one gave really great coverage on the first coat to the point where if I had shorter nails, I think I could get away with just one coat of this. I didn't really notice that many light spots, like maybe I could make out my nail line very faintly, but obviously I still did do a second coat for this, and I don't think it changed the color too much either, so you could maybe get away with this in one coat. So as you've probably heard me mention before, my only gripe with these hollows is that they're very subtle, which I know isn't for everyone, but I actually really love this one. It reminded me of pumpkin spice or cinnamon sugar with the delicate sparkle. The next shade we have is Smiley, and this is a Dijon mustard prugly yellow. Okay, it doesn't officially have prugly in the description, but Walker has called it that herself. This one has another crelly leaning formula, but it offers really great and even coverage on the first coat. Not to the point that I would recommend wearing this in one coat unless you are into that look, but yeah, you'll definitely just need to for full opacity. So this color isn't named after a typical smiley face or the emojis, but rather the fake smile a baby does when they poop. So as much as I personally hate that, I love that it's a full circle moment for Walker, who loves baby poop colors. The next color we have is Wild, and this is a forest green with gold shimmer. So this one is inspired by the jungle animal theme in Walker's son's bedroom, which I think is super cute. This had another crelly formula, so you'll definitely need two coats, but I don't think you would need a third since this is a deeper color. Maybe if you had longer nails or if you just do a lot thinner coats than I do. But yeah, so while I normally am a sucker for gold shimmer, I almost wish it wasn't in this one. I just really love this base color. I think it's like such a perfect mossy fall green without being an olive green. Like there's a little bit of olive to it, but maybe it's the gold shimmer making it lean that way. I'm not really sure, but I just love the base color. The shimmer is really pretty though. It does have like a nice twinkling effect. Next up we have Middle of the Night, or as the acronym is on the bottle, MOTN, which is typically used in online mom lingo. I wouldn't have guessed that. I thought that it meant Manny of the night, like once you put your baby to sleep and you finally have time to paint your nails. Not that I have a baby, but that's just what I imagined. But anyway, this was my favorite from the collection. It's a twilight navy blue cream that is just so rich and so beautiful. It gave me really great coverage on the first coat. It had a nice creamy buttery smooth kind of formula, but I still needed two to make it fully opaque, and I am obsessed. And rounding out the rainbow, we have Gaze, a deep heather purple cream. So this was actually another favorite of mine. I'm just such a sucker for these specific kind of purpley shades that are just very muted, but still very flattering, because I've definitely come across a few that are a little too cool, so they just make my hands look dead. This one I think is just so flattering though. It's almost like between a deep mauve and a muted aubergine, maybe? I'm not sure. I'm obviously not the best at describing colors, but there's just something so comforting about this color to me, and I just can't wait to do a full mani with it. This one had another super creamy formula, opaque in just 2 coats. And here's the collection lineup. I think it's just so satisfying. You know I'm a sucker for a rainbow palette, and having this muted one for fall is just really pretty. And I also love that there's an even mix of creams and sparkly shades. So getting into comparisons, I'm starting with Garnet and showing that next to Sumac from last year's fall collection. That one is a little bit deeper and more of a burgundy or like a mulled wine kind of color, so it's not as vibrant as Garnet is, and it also has a gold shimmer. So I thought a similar color might be OPI's big Sagittarius energy from that god-awful Zodiac collection. This one is more of a true pearl finish, while Garnet is a little bit more metallic. So on the nail, you can tell them apart a little bit easier, where Sumac has more of that brownish brick red kind of color to it, so it's not as bright and juicy as Garnet. And the OPI shade, even though it has very similar shimmer and base colors to Garnet, it just doesn't have the same dimension. Next for Ginger, I wanted to show this next to Bengal Spice, which is another sparkly orange from Olive Ave. This one came out, I think, in the very first fall collection several years ago at this point. This is a much brighter kind of pumpkin orange that has a pink shimmer. So a closer color comparison is Copper from last year's fall collection. Even though this one is just a cream, I feel like the base colors looked so identical in the bottle, but they are wildly different on the nail. So here you can see all 3 of them side by side. Bengal Spice is much more of that true bright orange with that pink shimmer, and Copper just dries down a lot darker than Ginger does, so they're definitely very different. Next for Smiley, I had to show this next to Olive Ave Sienna, which is described as a yellow caramel cream. So even though it does look pretty yellow, I definitely would consider it like a pretty true caramel color, but to get an even closer like mustard yellow, the closest that I had was Cirque's Urbanized, which I feel looked really similar in the bottle, maybe just a little bit lighter than Smiley, like it's not as muted as Smiley is. So on the nail, you can see just how different they actually look. So again, Sienna is more of like that warm orangey kind of caramel, and Urbanized is just a lot brighter, almost like a goldenrod. Then for Wild, I had to show this next to Olive because it's just a true olive shade. So just to show you, there's not that much yellow in Wild aside from the shimmer, obviously. So I thought maybe I could also show it next to Lantern because it's a little bit deeper, but Lantern has a lot more of a bluish kind of undertone to it. So it doesn't really compare to, in my mind at least. So I thought maybe because it's sparkly, I can show it next to Emerald, even though it is an olivey kind of green. So yeah, on the nail, these 3 do not look remotely similar. I think Wild just has such a flattering green base color that I can't recommend it enough, especially if you don't like the typical olive greens for fall. Next for Middle of the Night, I had to show this next to Josler, which is a deep teal peacock blue cream. And these are definitely very different. You can justify having both. I absolutely love both, but a closer blue that I had in my collection was Loud Lacquer's Denim, Denim, Denim. For the sake of the name, I'm just going to call it Denim. And they look really, really similar in the bottle. At least I thought that they did. Maybe Loud Lacquer's was just a little bit brighter or like almost blurply, but on the nail, you can definitely tell a difference. Again, Josler just has like more of that teal tone to it, and then Denim is a lot brighter looking. I was kind of surprised how dark Middle of the Night was, so I thought maybe a better color comparison was Static Nails Rio, which is a cool toned navy blue. So these two are definitely the closest ones that I have, but they're still not quite dupes. Rio is just a smidge darker, maybe a little bit more dusty as well. So I don't know if you can justify having both. I definitely can because I love these shades of navy. And lastly, for gaze, I had to see this next to Olive Ave's Pebble, which is another shade that I love, and it just immediately reminded me of this one. But Pebble is actually a lot lighter and also a little warmer, I think. So for a cooler toned purple, I thought I could show this next to Holo Taco's Nightshade from the recent Down to Earth bundle. And this is the exact kind of purple that I was talking about before, where I feel like it's just a little too cool toned. So I personally don't find it flattering on me. So yeah, on the nail, you can see these all do not compare. Gaze just dries down so deep and beautiful. It's easily my favorite from these three, but I still really love Pebble too. So that wraps up my swatches and comparisons for Olive Ave's new Kaleidoscope collection. So I actually think I forgot to mention this in the intro, but these are going to be launching tomorrow, Friday, September 15th at noon Eastern time. And as a reminder, I am an affiliate with Olive Ave, so if you do want to support me and my channel, you can shop these shades through the link in my description box, or you could use my code YOGI10 for 10% off. So as always, I would love to know what your thoughts are on this release, because honestly, it didn't really jump out at me when I first saw it. It could be because I just kind of have fatigue in a way of getting bombarded with like all these releases, and I'm sure you do as well. But at least looking at it in the lens of just Olive Ave polish, I think this is such a fun one because, I mean, first of all, it's a fall rainbow and I'm just a sucker for a rainbow palette. And this muted one is just so pretty to me. Even though I don't love Smiley, we just wouldn't have like the complete rainbow without it. But yeah, after trying them out myself and like wearing them as a Skittle, so I have the first like couple of shades here, and then I start with the purple, and then I ended up not including Smiley on this hand. I think they look so nice. Like they're just so deep and just, you know, your typical like yummy fall kind of colors that I think look so satisfying. And I think these are definitely fun takes on some colors that she's like had already, but they're just like slightly different, which is the whole point of the Kaleidoscope theme for this collection. I'm actually going to include her direct quote about what this collection means in the description box because I really loved it. Like I love how thoughtful Walker is with her collections, and especially how she's been focusing on transitions for this year. So yeah, I know maybe some people aren't going to be as excited about these compared to other launches, but I think there's some solid staples in here. Like I do think this range is nice, but I wish I was also a little more excited about some of them. For example, like with the green, I think the base color is so beautiful, and even though the gold shimmer is beautiful too, I just wish for that shade in particular it just like wasn't there. But even with like the red, I think it's a beautiful shade of red. It's just giving me very like winter vibes, so I'm not really going to be wearing it right now, but come December and obviously January, it's going to be like the perfect red. So I feel like, you know, just kind of mixed feelings. You'll have to let me know what your thoughts are, and if you're going to be picking any of these up tomorrow, or if you're going to be picking up some other shades that Olive Ave has in stock, because I recently picked up Josler and Hayride from, I believe those two are from the very first fall collection, and I'm so happy to have those in my collection finally. So let me know what you're going to be picking up tomorrow, or just any general thoughts that you have on these down below so we can chat about it. But thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.